When Oppo released its first consumer foldable phone, it piqued my interest. With the Find N, it delivered a book-style foldable that was much shorter than the Galaxy Z Fold, making it much more compact and pocketable, but simultaneously giving us a screen on the front that was much more convenient to use than Samsung's. I thought at the time it was a winning formula, and the company is back again with a second generation. It sticks with the same basic idea, but tidies up the design a little bit and enhances the software to make the best of that folding display. I'm Cam Bunton from Pocket-lint, and in this video I'm going to give you my first impressions and an overview of the latest Oppo Find N2. If you do like it, please do leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap the notification bell to make sure you don't miss any more of our uploads. Now, like its predecessor, the Find N2's biggest strength is in its portability. It's not a giant like the Samsung-made Fold series. Instead, Oppo's has more of a pocket and palm-friendly footprint. It's much shorter than most other phones of this style and has a wider aspect ratio front. That means when you're using it shut with one hand, you're not left stretching as much with your thumb to reach the furthest edges of the screen, plus it easily fits in a pocket without poking out of the top. Its weight also makes it really appealing this year. In fact, Oppo claims this is the lightest foldable phone of this style to launch so far. At 233 grams for the lightest model, it's much lighter than the Z Fold or even lighter than the iPhone 14 Pro Max. In short, you don't get that sense of heft or bulk that you get with most other horizontal folding phones. To achieve it, Oppo used carbon fiber in the hinge and in the flexible underside of the display, stripping out slightly heavier parts and replacing them with lighter ones, which are also more durable. The black model is the lightest and also, we think, the best looking. It has a vegan leather rear which complements the dark grey metal around the cameras and the phone's edges perfectly, to give it a really classy overall look, and one we instantly fell in love with upon removing it from its packaging. There are glass-backed white and green models as well, or will be when they're available to buy. It's worth noting that these two models have Gorilla Glass Victus on the front and on the back, where the black model only has it over the front. As mentioned, the hinge has been redesigned internally, and it's not only lighter and more durable, but smoother in motion and can hold at a few different angles. With the software enhancements made, which I'll get to a bit later, that gives it a bit more of an edge than its predecessor. Unlike Samsung's phones, however, Oppo's doesn't have an official IP rating against water and dust resistance. Now, Oppo's phone might break the mold with its shaping and size, but it sticks to the tried and true formula of foldables. It's got one rigid display on the outside and a flexible panel on the inside. The former of those is close to being a regular smartphone shape and measures 5.54 inches diagonally. It's bright and vibrant, reaching over 1000 nits peak brightness and up to 120 Hz refresh rates. So it's not an afterthought in the slightest, and Oppo sees this as being a screen you use frequently, not as a secondary or additional screen you might use sometimes. If it's like its predecessor, it'll be good at just about anything, watching videos, gaming, or doing any of your social media or messaging that you would do on any other smartphone. But there's also the larger, more expansive screen on the inside. At 7.1 inches, it's not massive, but you do still get a lot more space to play games or work with side-by-side apps. There's also something Oppo calls Flex Form Mode, which kicks in automatically when you open the phone to an angle. It's like its own custom launcher, which features a gesture trackpad on the bottom half and a collection of functions and apps on the top half. You'll be able to use it when using the camera as an example, giving you a viewfinder or monitor on the top and the controls at the bottom for shooting. Now, it seems a little bit limited on first impressions and only works with a handful of stock apps and functions, but the camera functionality means being able to shoot at different angles or recording yourself while it's sat on a desk or a table. The display spec sheet sings all the right notes too. With 120 Hz adaptive refresh rates, HDR10+ support, and outdoor brightness up to 1500 nits, it's got everything you need. Plus, there's an almost invisible hinge, which makes a huge difference to the experience of using any folding phone. You don't really see it when using the phone, and you can barely feel it either when you run your finger across it, or at least it's not so noticeable that it will distract you from what you're doing. Now, there's been a trend in 2022 to launch folding phones without any compromises when it comes to internal performance and power, and the Oppo Find N2 is no different. After all, when you're paying potentially big money for a flexible smartphone, you don't want a device compromised by a less than stellar processor. Oppo's continued that trend by equipping the new phone with Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. Combined with the 120 Hz refresh rates on the displays and either 12 or 16 GB of RAM, that should mean fast and smooth performance regardless of the task. Now, I've not had enough time to say whether or not that's the case for the Find N2, but the early impressions are promising. And if it's anything like any other phone we've used with the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chipset, chipset inside it, it will be very good. You get plenty of storage too, with either 256 or 512 gigabytes available as options, and that'll mean more than enough room for photos, videos, and apps and music. And all of this is supported by a 4520 milliamp hour battery, which has 67 watt Super VOOC fast charging, and that means a full charge in about 35 minutes. Now, as camera systems go, again, it's got pretty much everything you need. There's a primary 50 megapixel camera joined by a 48 megapixel ultrawide and a 32 megapixel 2x zoom camera. Like the Oppo Find X5 Pro that came before it, it's powered by Oppo's own Marisilicon image processing neural engine, and also has Hasselblad's color science for color. Exactly what that means in everyday use is yet to be seen, but should mean a strong camera system with great versatility in focal lengths on offer from the 3 distinct lenses. I'm glad there's no low resolution, pointless macro or depth sensor here. Instead, we're focusing on 3 proper good cameras, and there are 2 32 megapixel selfie cameras as well. Now, first impressions of anything can often be misleading, but I'm pretty excited by the potential of the Find N2. It's lightweight, nimble, and it's packed with powerful internals, with 2 high-performance displays and a versatile camera system. If it was launching outside of China, that would be amazing, but as it stands at this point in time, Oppo doesn't plan to. And that's a shame, because this is a foldable I would be very happy to use. I'm Cam Bunton from Pocket-lint. Let me know what you think of this latest foldable from Oppo. Do you think they should launch it in Europe or US or wherever you're from? Let me know in the comments down below. If you did like this video, please do leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap the notification bell, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye for now.